Hello and welcome to the channel. So we've got a Peavey Classic here. In fact, we've seen this amp before, and it's rather a large beast, so I've got it just perched on the bench at an angle. Now this is in because the power fuse on the back, the mains fuse, the actual fuse holder is broken, and apparently the fuse was all blackened inside. This is shop stock, but I think Lee loaned it out, and it's come back with the fuse holder broken. Now I don't know whether it's just got smashed or whether there's a fault with the amp and they went to take the fuse out and the fuse holder dropped to bits, because this is quite an old amp. So we're going to drop the chassis and have a look, do a few checks. So I've just nipped the wires together there while we test. We've got the current limiter on to give us the protection we need, and we're just going to switch on and see what happens. Well, the bulbs didn't light up or anything. We haven't got a short. Yep, that's the tremolo working. What we're drawing, 270 milliamps. That's about right idle for this amp, I think. Oh dear. It's a noisy pot. There is that that's the treble pot, and the normal, and the two channel volumes as well. So one thing I did notice on this amp, I seem to remember it last time, and it looks, I don't know whether this is factory. Look at the state of this. Paralleled in there. Great lump of them soldered onto there. Not sure about that, although it was there before. I remember mentioning it before. It seems to have stood the test of time anyway. It's a couple of years since we've seen this amp, and I've spotted a dry joint on there though that's appeared. So we need to sort that out, but that's nothing. What makes me think it's not factory is that I don't see any carbon comp resistors in here. Oh, actually I do, yeah. There's another one there. It could be factory. I tell you what, it's been done a long time ago if it is. So these are 100 ohms each. That almost looks like an orange band, but they're actually 100 ohms each. And they've actually seriesed, they're in series, and they come up to 400 ohms or just a little bit more. It's one of those things, you know, they seem really solid, and they've been on there years, because it does look like, I know I left them last time because this amp had only come in for, I can't remember exactly what, I might have just checked the bias on it, I can't remember. It was something, there was some reason why it came in. It was only a trivial thing. There's no schematic for this, I've just checked online. So we'd want something like a 470 ohm resistor going across that. Let's just take some let's just take some voltages on the plate and screen and just see what's happening with this. Switch on. So I've got 400 volts on the plate, and I've got 386 on the screens. $388. So we know there's nothing majorly wrong with this amp. It just needs a new fuse holder, and it just needs that clamp removing. Right, we've got him in there. So when this amp's cranked, although that's 5 watt, it might not be big enough for this amp, because when this is cranked, the current will increase from the screens. We've got no screen resistors either on this amp, so we're going to have to test that next to make sure that it's going to hold up. If someone should take this amp and swage it at full volume, we need to know that that's going to hold up all right, that resistor, because that was a rather large clump of resistors, and those to me look like 5 watts. So we need to plug the dummy load in. Let's just switch off. We're going to monitor the screen voltage. Now I've lowered the fuse in the plug. I'm going to take this off the current limiter, so should there be a problem, it'll pop the fuse in the plug. So we need to be looking at that meter there. So 411 volts. Now then, so up here we've got the signal generator. We've got 1 kilohertz sine wave going through it, and that's made the bulbs swage. Look at the screen voltage, how it's dropped as well. But if I drop the bulbs off, you can see that's going to come right back up now. We've got a master volume on this amp. Yes, we have. So the amp is now flat out with that signal through it. See the tremolo there, altering the amp's drawing 890 milliamps now. Those are flat out. So 405 volts. So let's turn it down. With the current limiter off, 469 volts. Now I've took the current limiter off, crank the amp, and we've got 406. So we need the calculator to do a bit of checking on that resistor, and that's probably why they've got such a high value in there. So we've got 64 volts going across our resistor there, so we'll times it by 64, and then we'll divide it by 470. And now we can see why those resistors were on there, because that's nowhere near big enough. And it's just, you can smell it baking a bit, so that's not going to handle that, because 69 times 69 equals 4761, and if we divide that by 470, that comes out at 10 watts. So I've got it up and running again. So just have a look at what we've done. Got it on the current limiter at the minute. I've added an HT fuse. There was no HT fuse on it, so I've added that. I've removed that clamp that we saw earlier there. I'm just want to drop it into the amp there. The clamp has been removed, and we've now got a 25 watt 470 ohm resistor mounted to the chassis. Drop that heatsink paste on there and tighten down, and he's an absolute result. I haven't put any screen resistors on because pin 6 has been taken, and I'll be ripping all this wiring off and messing about even more. So it's managed for 40 odd years without screen resistors. I'm sure it'll manage a bit longer, and obviously this now is 25 watts, so we're not going to get any issues with that. There we go, we're off the current limiter, drawing 350 milliamps. I mean, the thing with this is it's a budget amp really, so you know I'm not going to go to town on this, recap it and everything else. It's just a budget amp. It's a nice amp, but we do see these, we certainly do in this country, we see these as budget amps really. But again, it needs to be safe. No HT fuse, and again that pile of resistors there just across that cap is, to me, is just, well, it's lasted 40 odd years, you could argue, but nevertheless that's done now. So we'll just get the scope through it on a dummy load, wind it up, and just see, just make sure there's no problems. Right, I've had it on the scope, just check that resistor, and fully cranked. We've got about 7.6 watts going across that, but we're a bit down on the mains, but so yeah, I think last time we tested it was 10 watts, so we're well good on that. It's no problem. Now I've cleaned that pot, and that's okay now. You can see that on the scope, it needed cleaning. It's just a tip, going in there, cleaning that pot. Always check that you've not caught these transistors and pushed the legs together, because if you have, when you switch it on, you just blow it straight away. So always check that, because you're going in, and I had to go in with like a flexible pipe on the can, the switch cleaner, and it's easy to just catch one of these slightly and push the pins together. There's a tip of the day there. Or you'll be in a world of pain. That blows you, then you've got to be taking the board out. So I think we're all good to go. So I think we'll button this up now, and we'll have a bit of a blast on it. So yeah, that's quite a nice woody tone we're getting out of that. These channels, try them in series. Ooh, they're a bit stiff now. Ooh. So that must be how it gets its overdrive. That's not very nice, is it? These amps were never known for that though. Let's try parallel both channels. So we've got a brighter and a normal channel. That's what's going on there, and you can parallel them or series them with these sockets here. reverb it's quite beastly, and it's not a great reverb to be honest, but it's a budget amp, it's okay. You just put about put on number 4, something like that, it's not too bad. Feeling one of those speakers might be I don't know whether it's a shade throaty, it's just or is it just the amp that's just driving a little bit? I think let's try the normal now. That's a bit muddy, isn't it? So I think the bright channel is, for me, is the best sound. Parallel gives you similar sounds, just a bit more punch going on there. I've got both channels on number 2 there. Sure where that came from. Peavey Classic, it's got tremolo on it, but we all know what that sounds like. And I never use tremolo, you know, never. It's just, some people love it. I don't hate it or anything, I just kind of never use it. But there we go, the Peavey Classic. We've replaced the fuse holder that was smashed, and that actually broke while this amp was running, because obviously the fuse was black, so it had gone dead short to the chassis. So I'm not quite sure what was going on there. And again, we've put an HT fuse in it, and we got rid of the clamp just to make it a little bit safer. So that'll do it for this one. So thanks for watching, supporting the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video. You all take care now. Bye bye.